We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Alex Armstrong, along with the usual suspects, Will Kingston, Dr. Renee Trelo, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show.
The only people who don't seem to care about shoplifting are the police.
Barbie is Islamophobic.
Nobody should ever be locked up for free speech crimes.
Ethnicity in crime doesn't matter.
And Desperate Don is making a deal with the devil.
It's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5. We love having your company. Get your views in gbnews.com/your say. We love reading out your views. And of course, get stuff in for Ask the 5 this week. We're going to do more than we ever have before. So put Ask the 5 in the comments and we'll read it out. But some other news this week. Vladimir Putin. Here's the news that Prime Minister Keir Starmer may be invited to future peace talks.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yes, and a new report suggests the number of unmarried 25 to 35-year-olds has doubled in the last 30 years. I wonder what's causing it.
Ask if you would like to.
Are you absolutely joking? You are having a giraffe, aren't you?
Mom, you're ruining our moment!
Baby, I'm not ruining your moment. I can assure you I'm saving you from the rest of your life.
Overbearing parents, perhaps, who knows? And videos are circulating the internet, really showing how successful Ed Miliband's new energy policy is. Ah, what a beautiful sight of our energy infrastructure being completely demolished, eh? And the internet has been out in force this week as Trump met Putin in Alaska. It also raised serious questions about how badly the education system may have let many down, including our very own Will Kingston, who is completely dumbfounded that the map doesn't go round like a globe. Wow. Will.
I understand the concept of the globe. I was surprised at just how close they are. It's only 3 miles in between them.
Yeah,
China too. On the
yeah, we only do the Southern Hemisphere in education in Australia. We didn't get to the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, we've clearly let a whole generation of young people down, haven't we? And of course, like I said, get your views in gbnews.com/your say. Get some Ask the 5s in. And one more important thing this week, because this is a neck-and-neck poll at the moment. Vote in our Saturday scraps. So gbnews.com/poll. Here are the questions we're asking. Should we celebrate the Independence Day of other countries?
No.
Should politicians have their time abroad restricted? And should we scrap inheritance tax? We will be waiting for your result on that one, and one of us will be going up against Kai. We're tearing each other apart. Your Saturday news with the brilliant Katie Bowen.
Alex, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 3 minutes past 6. Vladimir Putin says that his conversation with President Trump was sincere and substantive, adding that he wants to end the Ukrainian conflict peacefully. His statement comes as there are reports that European leaders have been invited to attend talks between Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump in Washington on Monday. President Trump said he and Vladimir Putin had a very productive meeting yesterday, but there were a few key points they couldn't agree on. The face-to-face talks in Alaska lasted more than 3 hours. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has commended President Trump's efforts, saying he has brought us closer than ever before to ending the war in Ukraine. On Truth Social, Mr Trump said he and Putin agreed that the best way to end the war is to go directly to a peace deal and not a ceasefire.
We had an extremely productive meeting and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
Well, the Financial Times is reporting that the Russian president has demanded that Ukraine withdraw from the eastern Donetsk region as a condition for ending the war, but told President Trump he could freeze the rest of the front line if his core demands were met. At the press conference, the Russian president, who spoke through a translator, said he's seriously interested in putting an end to the war, but warned Europe not to interfere.
I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Elsewhere today, anti-racism campaigners have chanted at demonstrators protesting against what they call uncontrolled illegal immigration outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Falkirk. Stand Up to Racism Scotland, Falkirk Trades Union Council and residents said they organised the demonstration today to show that refugees are welcome in the town. It comes after the group Save Our Future and Our Kids' Futures announced plans to hold a protest outside the hotel known as the Claddam. In a social media post, the group said it is standing against uncontrolled illegal immigration, with people being placed in our communities without transparency, accountability or consultation. And Merseyside police have arrested a man following reports that racist abuse was directed towards Bournemouth player Anton Semenyo during his team's Premier League fixture versus Liverpool yesterday. The match was paused in the 29th minute after the winger Semenyo accused a spectator of racist abuse. It's understood police officers went into the referee's room at half-time while an anti-discrimination message was read to the crowd. The man was removed from Anfield Stadium. Those are the latest GBNews headlines. Now let's go back to the Saturday 5.
Tune into GBNews Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
It's Saturday night and you're with the Saturday 5. Over the next 3 hours, as ever, the biggest debates, hottest topics and entertaining interviews, including a worrying forecast that says poor GCSE results achieved by young boys could damage the future of our country. Also, we sent Kai away to do a bit of hard graft for a change.
Now hold it up tight, yeah. And then also on, I think this one was loose as well.
What, like that?
That's fine, yeah. You're a natural.
I've never seen a lefty ever do a day's work in my life. No wonder why he was so lost. But I thought you'd be better with those sort of shaped things, but there we go.
Yeah.
So stick around for the Saturday 5 Extra to find out what that's all about. Lots of your comments coming in. Please keep them coming for Ask the Five because we want to read out more than ever. So keep it safe. We'll read them out on national television. We want to get your views in. Don't say it. You say it every week. Shut it. All right. Right. Well, let's crack on with tonight's first debate. And of course, I'm going to kick us off. Has two-tier justice struck again? Ricky Jones, former Labour councillor, said this at a Walthamstow rally.
They are disgusting, nasty bastards, and we need to cull their throats and get rid of them all.
And he was acquitted. A jury freed him in just 30 minutes. Now, compare that to Lucy Connolly. Her tweet, poorly judged, might I add, got her 31 months. But there is some nuance here. What are the key differences? Well, Connolly pled guilty and Ricky Jones pled innocent. And that meant that Jones got a jury trial and Connolly got a judge. Perhaps the real issue here is that judges are completely out of touch with the public, who seem to take a far more lenient approach to so-called free speech crimes. Many commentators are saying Connolly's plea was rushed, stating that it seems she was somewhat coerced or pushed to plead guilty because Keir Starmer declared he would crack down on the far right following the Southport riots.
I won't shy away from calling it what it is. Far-right thuggery. I want you to know that this violent mob do not represent our country, and we will bring them to justice.
The Prime Minister, in my strong opinion, meddled in the justice system and instructed the courts to come down hard on those protesting. That is what led to this clear two-tier approach. It's where the two cases diverge dramatically. Now, let me be clear on my position. Nobody should ever be arrested or imprisoned for free speech in Britain in 2025. The law is supposed to be blind. But how can it be if a politician can change the rules as they go and make political statements about why they are doing so? All of this could have been avoided if we fixed our broken laws on free speech and enshrined your right to free speech in a written constitution. It is clear to me there is two-tier here, and that was started by the Prime Minister's statements and sentiments which may have inadvertently influenced how decisions were made. Well, let me bring in my panel now to talk about this. Will, I'll start with you. The key thing, and the feeling across this country, is that this was a two-tier decision. And of course, because they see Lucy Connolly, wife of a Conservative councillor, Ricky Jones, former Labour Conservative councillor, two people on different ends of the political spectrum. One gets 31 months in prison, one gets let off. Of course, the nuance is that the cases were different, the pleas were different. But do you think Keir Starmer's standing on that podium made a difference to the way that Connolly's plea was, as many are calling it, pushed in a different direction?
Yes, absolutely. And then the fact that she was denied bail on multiple occasions as well, in what would just seem to be incredibly cruel, would also indicate that she was made an example of in a two-tier approach. The fact of the matter is, speech laws will inherently create two-tier outcomes because they're inherently subjective.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. The problem is the legal framework in the country which says that we need to be policing morality through speech. And if you do that, inevitably you're going to get these outcomes where some things will be seen to be morally permissible because they go with the zeitgeist of the time, and some will seem to be far right and therefore lock them up.
Yeah, Kai, you know, the law in this country is quite clear on things. However, when the Prime Minister gets up at a podium at a time when emotions are extremely high in the country and says, I'm going to crack down on the far right. And by that, he means people who are pretty much on the opposite spectrum to the counter-protesters, let's say. Does that then have an influence with lawyers are saying, look, the government are going to come crack down on you, they're going to keep the courts open 24 hours a day? Is Keir Starmer responsible here for some two-tier justice?
I don't think he's responsible, but words do matter, and what public figures say should be treated with caution. Who's trying to be statesmanlike and crack down on something that could have been even worse than it was. But actually, to make this a bit two-tier justice, I think this is a fallacy, because actually what we're seeing is an absence of justice across the board. The justice system is creaking, and that is also the case for the likes of Palestine Action, the likes of Just Stop Oil. You know, climate protesters in this country are arrested at 3 times the rate of the global average. So it's not just about the cases that often you guys are cherry-picking and comparing side by side to make it look absolutely awful, which it does. But, you know, this is across the board an issue, but it's the system not working, not sort of something to do with far-right protesters.
I don't think you'll get any argument on that.
No, I think where you're getting confused is that I'm talking about two people who have made statements about incitement of violence. So I have actually been very clear on my position on this. I don't want anyone arrested for free speech in this country. If I don't like their right to, if I don't like them, what they protest, that's one thing. But I will always fight for everyone's right to protest in this country, no matter what government it is. I think the Tories messed up massively by writing these laws. I'm just going to bring in Renee.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what Kai said, and you're right, Kai. We've argued on this panel that the marches that go through town every weekend are a disgrace, but they're not a disgrace because people should be arrested for it, but they're a disgrace because they're bringing our city to a close. They're intimidating people of a certain faith and not others. That's what's a disgrace. But no one should in this country go to prison, or any country, for speaking their mind. I think what happened here is twofold. I think that Ricky Jones, although Ricky Jones did spend 4 months on remand, actually, but he had plenty of time to engage good lawyers, think about his case, argue it out. Lucy Connolly was in front of a judge in days. She was pressured, I think, because of the pertaining feeling coming down from the government. It was dripping down. You must punish these people so that everybody steps back. And people did step back. I stepped back from Twitter and thought, oh, can I even say that? So I think it does come down from the top, and it's wrong. People should be able to say what they want, but they should be able to stand by it, and we should be able to argue with them.
So I think I can't look at it as a two-tier thing unless both of them had faced a jury, and I think had she gone to jury, it could have been very, very different. I think there are two slightly different cases. I mean, Ricky said it while he's been cordoned off, his side against the other side, so you could say it was somewhat contained, although I personally think any incitement to violence, he probably should have gone to prison, at least for some time, right? But I think they're just very different cases. I think in Lucy's cases, she should have actually gone to a jury, and it might have been a very different... But I think any incitement to violence should be dealt with a custodial sentence.
To prove incitement to violence, you have to be able to directly link the speech to an act.
Yes.
That is the only point at which you can prove incitement to violence.
There's an elephant in the room here, and that is that our legal framework when it comes to speech is corrupted because we have traded free speech for multiculturalism.
Yeah.
This is entirely about trying to hold together a very fragmented...
We've traded free speech for multiculturalism.
Yes, stop and have a think about it, Trey. You can do it in the outbreak, perhaps. But this is a society now where, in order to keep together this very fragmented society, you need to limit what people can say.
In your opinion, it's a fragmented society.
Yeah,
it's not about free speech.
It's an opinion television show, mate.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
But for example, the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, the other week literally said in New South Wales, in Australia, they do not have the same legal protections as America when it comes to free speech because we have a multicultural society. Politicians aren't being silent about this. They're being very open. That is the trade-off.
American society is pretty multicultural as well in so many ways.
Sure.
Well, look, I'll say this, and I'll leave it here after that. The key problem I have with all of this is there are multiple laws, the Malicious Communications Act, the 2003 Communications Act, the Public Order Act. All of these things are what have the Online Safety Bill. All these things are tying in what I think is a very, very sinister ploy to shut you up at home, and they are coming together at a time where your voice is louder on digital and social media than it ever has been. We should scrap these laws. Your right to free speech is the most God-given right you have ever had. And then you lose that right, then whether it's left or the right, one day a government will come along and weaponise it. One day, if you don't like the lefties' point of view, you don't like their freedom of speech, fine. But if you want them to go to prison, one day that same law will be used against you and your side, and you won't like it then. So we need to scrap these laws and go back to complete freedom of speech and enshrine that in the Constitution. Right. Coming up next, Kai, what have you got for us?
Well, I'm going to be talking about what the orange fascist has been getting up to in Alaska.
Oh, God, please stay with us. You're with us Saturday 5 Live.
Here goes the audience.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say.
How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Please get in touch, gbnews.com/your say, and get your questions in for Ask the 5. We're going to read out more than we ever have done this time round, so you're going to really hope you can send us in some of your thoughts. It can be anything, by the way. It doesn't have to be...
Would you say you read out more than any other show on GB?
I would say we do. Yeah. Thanks, Will. Yeah, I would say we do.
Kai will be asking.
Where are your stats?
I'm going to find out.
Where are your stats?
Don't you worry about that. We'll get to your comments after the next break. So now... it's time for your favourite at home, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. And you know what? I'm talking about how desperate Don is making a deal with the devil. Now, today I've actually been reading some of the speeches that Neville Chamberlain gave in the 1930s, where he talks about peace. Now, this is a man of history that is seen as an appeaser, but at least he did so with a sense of duty and honour. That is in stark contrast to what we see from Trump. Narcissism, ego, vanity. Now, the problem is this. Donald Trump overestimates his own ability. He treats geopolitics like a real estate deal. Now, on the other side of the negotiating table is Vladimir Putin. I think he knows what he's doing. He oversaw the Chechen wars. He invaded Georgia, he annexed Crimea, and armed Assad. He is pretending to want peace, while his foreign secretary wears a T-shirt emblazoned with USSR right on the front. Now, why doesn't Donald Trump see through this? It's because he admires the Putin playbook. Oppressing the media, eliminating political opposition, suppressing protests, and restricting civil liberties. Well, doesn't that sound awfully familiar? Now, I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope that this hasty peace holds. But this deal will have Russia's western flank quaking in their boots, because they know that that red carpet is stained with Ukrainian blood.
OK, Renee.
Kai, in 4 years, 8 years of a Biden presidency, where clearly he couldn't even remember his own name, Ukraine had to defend itself against Russia. Russia invaded. Nobody stopped them. Nobody tried. We armed them. We've been pumping money in from both Europe and the States for the last 3.5 years. 3,000 people, young men, are dying every single week. We've taken 200,000 refugees here to keep them safe. Trump has managed to get Putin around a table. It can't be any worse, Kai. How can you criticise this as something bad?
It can be worse, Dr. Renee, because we know that right now, Dr. Renee, it's a mark of respect. We know what Putin is doing. What Putin is doing, and I imagine what Western leaders with a great deal more sense than Donald Trump know, is that he wants to rearm, and within 5 years, we're told by French generals, he will have the capacity not just to attack again in Ukraine, but other Eastern European nations too. But this is Armenia, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. These are all at risk if we let this aggression go unchecked.
Well, he did very well in actually stopping that war in Armenia, I must add. But, Kai, there's a very simple question here. What is the alternative?
Yeah.
What is the alternative? There is literally, I'm not surprised that you've gone silent, because I haven't heard anything, not just from you, but from anyone. There is no alternative to the meat grinder.
I do agree. I agree with Will. I think at the end of the day, the fact that he actually got him talking is better than nothing at all. What's Biden done that?
No, it's not.
Because
had Biden wanted that, he would have done it. It's not as straightforward as it looks.
I don't really buy this whole thing that Russia...
I don't think the president that signed off all his bills with auto pen, where he wasn't even there, they all the exact same signatures somehow. He must have been very good at
You think that this isn't about...
I will tell you, Joe Biden was the most useless, ineffective president who picked wars up. He made the wars started under that man. They didn't start under President Trump. President Trump clearly is after a Nobel Peace Prize for better or worse. The man wants a peace prize, and he's going after.
And I'm for that.
And so am I. I wish more leaders wanted peace around the world.
Kai,
At the end of the day,
let's say this didn't happen. Let's say he didn't do it because he was with you. What do we do?
Honestly, things like allowing territory to be ceded and not even having a ceasefire in this temporary position at the minute, things like that are really what all foreign policy experts say should be done, rather than just not coming to any deal at all.
I think you're not hearing though. These guys are saying,
that is not a fantasy.
What should we do? What would you do?
Instead of the pistols.
I've just said you need to freeze the battle lines where they are at the minute, while a negotiated peace takes place. But what's actually going to happen is Putin makes one demand, and Trump is going to give that just to have some notion of peace. He rearms and invades the rest of Eastern Europe in 5 years.
You've just contradicted yourself. So you do want peace negotiations?
Yes, I'm not arguing that negotiations shouldn't happen.
And also,
but this piece by Donald Trump, where he is seen through by an aggressor, Putin, and I think will end up giving him what he wants, rolling out the red carpet, treating him like he never left, that is a disgrace.
It's a recognition of reality, mate. Russia holds the cards in this war. They are winning.
No, it does not.
They are winning.
It does
Again,
not.
And that doesn't mean...
Have you followed this war at all?
Yes.
Have you followed the reality on the ground in Russia?
I'm not supporting what Putin's done, but at the end of the day, I'm seeing...
That's good.
This is not a moral question, it's just reality.
Even if Trump just wants a Nobel Peace Prize, at least he's talking about peace or something.
Yeah, but not at any cost.
What was Biden doing in that whole time? And did you criticise Biden? Did you criticise Biden in the same way?
Of course I would.
Might I just say this, Kai, is that Donald Trump walked away from those talks the other day because there were some sticking points. One of them was territory. Donald Trump is acting in extremely good faith here. If he wanted to railroad this whole thing, because look, let's be honest, this is a proxy war between Russia and America. That's what it is, right? Ukraine is the middle ground, and if America wanted to, it could get itself involved in that war and end it tomorrow, right? What Trump has done is said, I can't give you any guarantees, Putin, on territory. I need to speak to President Zelensky. That's why Zelensky's on his way to the White House as early as Monday. So actually, I think Donald Trump here, we should support, whether we agree politically, people agree with him or not, we should support his efforts to bring an end to a war that has cost over 1 million young men their lives.
And where the lines haven't moved in 2 years.
Well, this is
they've been moving in Russia's favour.
Actually, this is
a bit in Russia's favour.
In my opinion, this is a good result for Ukraine because they have held off one of the largest superpowers in the world, and they've only listen. No one wants to see them lose their land, but they have only taken a small bit of land. They didn't get to Kiev. They managed to hold them off there, and I think at this point in time, all sides should go, this war is unsustainable, more men are going to die. Is that what we really want for our young people?
You're not going to beat a nuclear-armed power that has 3 or 4 times...
And if it wasn't Trump doing it, everyone would celebrate.
All right, well, who's coming up after the break? Is it you?
Yes, I'll pick this one up. Shoplifting's out of control in this country, you all know that, and unfortunately, it seems the police don't seem to care.
OK, you're with the Saturday 5. More lively debates coming up very soon.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine? Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
The exceptional heat across Spain and Portugal is now starting to ease, with temperatures closer to average, but at this time of year that still means it's going to be pretty hot for many places, with a little bit of showery rain pushing through, otherwise lots of sunshine. More showery rain affecting parts of Italy, the high humidity here leading to some thundery downpours, a bit of a breeze affecting Sicily still, and also some blustery winds around the Greek islands. For many, into next week it's looking largely fine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's remained quite cloudy across some eastern parts today. We'll see similar conditions into Sunday as well. Best of the sunshine across western areas, and high pressure generally dominates our weather pattern at the moment, so it is largely settled, though quite breezy, particularly across southwestern parts of the UK. This evening and overnight, a quiet end to Saturday. Lots of clear spells. There'll be some low cloud drifting back inland across some eastern areas as we head into the early hours. Thick enough for a bit of light rain and drizzle at times, but for most it's quiet. Temperatures generally in the range of 12 to 16 Celsius, so a little lower compared to recent nights. So on Sunday morning, plenty of sunshine across most parts of the UK. They're always cloudier towards the north and the east. So Orkney and Shetland, a cloudy start to the day here, and then generally cloudy across northern parts of Scotland, but the rest of Scotland, plenty of sunshine to start the morning. Lots of sunshine across Northern Ireland as well, though you can see the cloudier skies across eastern England, thick enough for some light rain and drizzle, but western parts of England into Wales, lots of sunshine to start the day, and still quite breezy across southwest England, but the wind should hopefully ease here later on in the day. This cloud will be slow to lift and break in places, just like we've seen through the day today. It will generally stay cloudy here, but elsewhere there'll be plenty of sunshine, and the temperatures will again get to the mid to high 20s. Sunshine could be hazy at times, but overall another warm feeling day for many. On Monday, again, a cloudy start, but likely we'll see the cloud extend further eastwards. It should break as the day goes on to allow some bright or sunny spells. The risk of some showers, though, coming into the southwest. Some of these could be thundery at times, but generally dry across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and generally dry for most over the next few days too. That's all from me. See you again soon.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
You're the Saturday Five. Renee's got the giggles. What's the giggles? Say it out loud.
Ice Cold Truth says, I've now reached the conclusion that most of the left have more eyeballs than IQ points.
Oh, dear. OK.
Yeah.
OK, well, on that note, then we better get cracking with our next debate. Hey, Will, what have you got for us this week?
Yeah, some bad news, Alex. Unfortunately, it is my unfortunate responsibility to tell you that it appears the police forces of the United Kingdom have put shoplifting in the too hard basket. And that basket will probably then be nicked as well, so we won't even have the too hard basket. Katie Bourne, the lead for shoplifting for the Association for Police and Crime Commissioners, has come out and said basically there's no point in arresting shoplifters if there is no effective deterrent in place. In other words, we're not going to put them in prisons because the prisons are overcrowded, so basically don't worry about prosecuting or even monitoring shoplifting. And that's a real problem. It's a problem because shoplifting has gone up 20% in England and Wales over the last year. That's not an insubstantial number. That's a very, very serious increase. It's no doubt driven by the low trust society that we now live in. No doubt that mass migration has contributed to that as well. But the end outcome is that nothing's going to be done about it because the police don't seem to care. But there are some things that they do care about, some woke tosh, which they do seem to actually really care about. Let's have a look at this video of some particular police priorities in the last week.
These women aren't friends out for a run. They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation trying to stop people catcalling and harassing female runners.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
I kind of want to laugh because it's so silly and trivial, but at the same time there is a serious point here, and that is that the police forces of this country need to get back to the roots of policing, which is actually resolving serious crimes and making people feel more comfortable and safe in this country, which they currently don't.
OK, Trey.
Oh, God, I just don't know why everything's blaming the migrants. What's that got to do with shoplifting? I think that's a phenomenon we've seen go through the roof in the last 5 years, especially
What
after
else has gone through the roof
what happened
in the
with
last 5
COVID. But, I mean, so you're saying in areas... I can't even be bothered to talk about the migrant thing. I think what's really sad, though, is the fact that you go into the shops and you see things like washing up liquid is behind this plastic thing, and I think as a deterrent. I think it's a sad indictment on society that, you know, people are having to protect things like washing up liquid, you know. I think it's sad, but what can the police do?
Do you know what I saw? I saw someone posted a picture today with a bottle, a litre of milk with a tag around it, like you get on clothes. I was like, oh my goodness. But Kai, this is clearly, I mean, successive government, I blame the Tories for cutting back police. Of course, they are completely responsible for that. We can't take that away from them. But Labour also don't seem to be doing enough. I mean, Sadiq Khan promised more policing, and he's cutting back front desks and Royal Parks.
I could trot out what the manifesto promises if you like, but no, obviously the problem with things like this is you see something that's plainly ridiculous, like the video that Will just showed, and then see something that we all see, shoplifting, right? It is obviously on the increase, but then I agree with Trey, you know, there are lots of things at play here. It's not migration, it's not a massive change in demographics. It's also to do with how poor ordinary Britons are. And that combined with a low trust society means that people don't have anything to lose.
We don't live in a Charles Dickens novel anymore. There are benefits in this country now where you can actually get fed as opposed to the 1800s.
So nothing to do with inflation, nothing to do with the cost of actually things in the shops, nothing to do with that.
Kai, crime spirals when people know they're not going to be punished. When announcements were made that you could shoplift up to £250 and you wouldn't be prosecuted, shoplifting flourished. We are not punishing people, so they are doing it because the contract between the people and the police is completely broken. There are no rules now. This is not to do about poverty. You asked my mum about the 1950s. You want to know about poverty. They didn't go shoplifting, Kai. They just got by.
But I agree, but I think it's to do with that broken contract, not just with the police, but with society. If people feel let down, they don't know what they're paying their taxes for, then yes, they will take liberties. They will shoplift when they're in those
shoplifting cars.
I know that. I'm not saying it's right, Renee, but I see why people are doing it.
No, I think Dr. Renee's got a real strong point, and I think you also don't see that many police, generally speaking, so it feels a lot more lawless. I think you've got a point. I just think there's no deterrent. Nobody cares. You can go to very, very poor countries and they're not necessarily doing that level of shoplifting. I think there's just something in this country where it's a lawless sense going on. I don't think it's nothing to do with migration. It's the lack of police. And there's, you know...
Final word to you on this, Kai.
Yeah, I agree.
I was wrong again.
Go on, Kai, have you got something you want to say?
No, I think the police need to sort things out generally, actually, because you know the things with.
Don't throw Kai.
I'll tell you what I think. I think we should have built more prisons over the last 10 years. Because you have a rising population, you have rising crime figures, and there's not enough police. You're going to create the perfect circumstances for a lawless country, which is exactly what is happening.
That's how you get the last word, Kai.
Our next debate, Trey, what have you got for us this week?
Right, so I've got the story of the Southport and the tragic events in Southport. So the family of one of the Southport stabbing victims have just shown this country what dignity looks like. In the middle of losing a beautiful girl, they've said loud and clear they don't want her death to fuel racism. And I applaud that. Because, you know, what did we see after the attacks? Yes, we saw vigils and gatherings, which was great, but they were hijacked by rioters and caused to burn down migrant hotels, all driven by lies about the killer's background. When the truth was, really, his crime was utterly reprehensible, utterly vicious, utterly dreadful, and it should have been about the innocent, beautiful victims of that crime instead of it becoming about ethnicity and possibly religion. If you compare that to Lucy Letby, she murdered 7 babies and tried to murder another 7 babies, but there were no riots, there were no calls digging into her heritage or her ethnicity and her national background, no demands for deportation, and we all know why. It wasn't about protecting women and children, it was about xenophobia and it was about racism, and that is wrong.
OK, Renee.
So, the difference, I'm not even going to go to Lucy Letby because it's a straw man argument. There's
Not really.
No comparison. There's no comparison.
There is, absolutely.
Not a British citizen, for starters.
Yeah, however, the reason that people here were upset about this particular hideous crime was because there were suspicions that it was motivated by a particular religious belief that detests women showing their bodies, that detests women having power, and it targeted little girls dressed in dance clothes at a dance class. That is why ethnicity was important, Kai, and is important if
I know you're definitely arguing when you're calling me Kai.
Did I call you Kai?
Yes, you did. Oh, my God, Kai's got it so much.
I think we can all agree that the skin pigmentation that you have does not drive your behaviour. We know that. But the cultures that you've been brought up in, the nations that you've come from, obviously do have a huge role in your behaviours and your actions. Correct. I don't think it is particularly controversial to say that if you come from a country where there are different attitudes towards women, where crime is rampant...
This guy was born and brought up in Wales, was he not, right?
Sure, but...
So he was as British as I would be British.
No, that's not
okay,
true.
wait. We can all agree that the focus should have been on the victims, not on politicising his ethnicity and his religion without even the evidence. And it still hasn't been proven that. From Rwanda.
Right. What went on in Rwanda?
There was exactly the same level of dog whistling in Rwanda, which led to the death of so many people of that ethnic minority. And it's exactly what's happening now. Guys, bear in mind, this is an actual relative of the victim. Surely his point of view should trump even what we think. And he is saying, do not use the memory of my little girl to fuel all of this racism, and that's all it is.
And another common sense point, Will, and I agree with you, right?
We'll decide if you're speaking.
Another common sense point that we can all agree on, I think, is that often these kind of cases get extrapolated to make one case about the entire country, and that's cherry-picking arguments, making straw men. That happens a lot these days, and it's amplified in the media, and that's what Trey is saying, I think.
Yeah, and it's hypocritical, because what Lucy Letby did was utterly horrendous, but there were no riots, no one spoke about it. Look, this is my view. I don't think it's about the victim. By the way, can I just say something very important? I think the left is also guilty of this. When there's a shooter and he's a straight white male, they do the same thing. And I'm sick of both on the left using that as an argument and on the right doing it. Why don't we focus on the victim?
Right, the reason there are no riots when someone like Lucy Letby commits a crime is that there's no policy action that can actually follow as a result of that. There's a very clear policy choice that leads to some of the crimes that we've been talking about.
He wasn't a legal immigrant, so what policy?
Well, legal immigration would be the policy.
He was just like me.
Well,
I think this is an important
point. But my point is you don't riot if there's no reason, like, as in, there's no change that you can instigate.
But you don't riot unless you're upset that the narrative doesn't fit you, so you want to make someone be...
You riot because you're trying to change something.
Shall I tell you what I thought about when I heard about this and what his background was? As a doctor, I sat there and I thought, what has gone on in this young man's life to turn him into such an angry young man?
Yes.
And then I looked at his parents who came from Rwanda, where there was a massacre where they used machetes. And his dad had some involvement, not in the murders, I'm saying, but in that whole uprising. I wonder what was being discussed around the dinner table every night that this young man was hearing, because children listen.
True.
And they
but look at what happened in Rwanda. It was a radio station that was inciting to violence. It's the same thing. One whole group of people are bad. And I think there were people over here that were almost wishing that he ticked those boxes, migrant tick, Muslim tick, so that they could have their same point of view. And that's wrong. Yeah, it should have been about the victims.
Of course, it should always be about the victims. On this channel here, when we were that a year later, we didn't mention that evil creature's name or even talk about him. We spoke about the victim. The victim. We were one of the only channels that actually showed the memorial that was taking place in Southport. I think you referenced the riots a couple of times. I just want to correct you a little bit because the riots did happen as a result of misinformation about the potential killer being an illegal migrant. Yeah. That's why that took place. So I don't know whether we can attribute his skin colour to a riot happening. I think it's because the misinformation around him being an illegal migrant is what led to those, and the sensitivity around migrant
I think for me,
hotels.
it feels like the crime is worse if the perpetrator looks a certain way, but if he doesn't. And again, the right and the left are both guilty of this.
Yeah. All right, well, that is a big debate there. I'm sure many more to come. You're with the Saturday 5 live on GBNews. Who's coming up next?
I'm going to tell you why Barbie is Islamophobic.
All right, stay with us. We'll see you shortly.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
It doesn't end because I'm telling you, we carried on rolling. The debate has gone all the way through that break. All right, well, I'm seeing you guys are having the debate on your say as well, so get in touch. Let me just read one out now quickly. Lucia said, "Hi, Alex, for a lasting peace to occur between Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine, there must be give and take from both sides. True. Donald Trump understands this and is actively working towards it. That does seem to be the case, actually. So I totally agree. Don't forget, Ask the Five coming up. We're going to be reading out loads of your direct... Please put Ask the Five in your comments so I know it's directly for us. And thank you for your messages so far. But we're going to get on with our next big debate. Renee, what do you got?
I'm going to tell you why Barbie is Islamophobic. So, in a Paris suburb this week, the local council put on a film to screen outside for the residents, and they voted for that film to be Barbie. Everyone was excited, and then it was abruptly cancelled because a group of young Muslim men threatened them. They said that they would disrupt the show, they would damage equipment because Barbie promotes homosexuality and it also undermines the integrity of women. That's not how I saw that film, but that's a discussion. Now, no one in that community gets to say there is no freedom of speech, there is no freedom of choice. Other people have decided for them. Fear has won, because that's what it is. Once again, a deeply conservative interpretation of Islam has dictated what people can do, say or see, backed by threats of violence. So where does this Islamification of the West end? Well, this is what I think. If we continue to let this happen, all meat on our shelves will be halal. There will be no choice. That's what you will be buying and eating. There won't be any alcohol. That'll be banned. There'll be no pubs and bars. They will be banned. There'll be no gambling, no casinos, no betting. Women and men won't be able to mix socially. LGBTQ people plus, they'll be back in the closet, whatever they're pretending to be. Girls' education, who needs that? And women will have their clothes dictated to them by doctrine. This is a slippery, slippery slope, and we are going down it fast.
Well said. Well said, Renee. And I think, Kai, whenever you give in to these extreme Islamists, you are going to see them push and push and push. And we cannot allow that in a society with tolerant values, with vast acceptance of gay people, of women's rights. When we give in to these extreme groups, we're just encouraging them, aren't we?
Look, there are extreme groups across all religions, across all races, right? If you gave in to extreme Christianity in the US, in the UK, then these LGBTQ rights that Renee is suddenly in favour of...
But we don't give in.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is this isn't going to happen. Look, this response by the mayor in the Paris suburb, obviously wrong, but this is a minority case. It was a small group who are pressuring one individual to mobilise their energy,
Kai,
right?
I'm taking your point on board, so let me give you
But why is it a story on national UK television? I'll tell you why, because you want to convince...
Hang on, one at a time. Let Renee speak.
I'm going to answer you. 2 years ago, there was a film due to be shown in all cinemas across the UK called The Angel of Heaven. It got cancelled because Muslims didn't want it shown because they said it denigrated their prophets and their beliefs. So it's not an individual case.
But how does that lead to this fantasy world where apparently the only meat that you can buy on the shelves is halal and that there won't be any mixed education? Why is this a fantasy that we're peddling to people? That is such an extreme understanding of what Britain could look like.
Shall I tell you the only meat that's available in the NHS meals now is halal? It's happening, Kai. It's not fantasy, it's happening.
OK, let me bring Trey in.
This is a mixed one for me, because I think anyone that starts to, put down the, LGBT community, I mean, why are you living in a country that has that freely? I think that bit I agree, but I think I agree with Kai there, Dr. Renee. It's a bit of a stretch that a couple of young idiots that have stopped Barbie, I don't blame them, it's probably not the best film in the world, suddenly means that the whole world's going to be taken over. You're talking about a country where it's, 70% Muslim, you're saying it's going to be overrun because of this and no halal. I just think it's the same old arguments. Muslims are the boogeyman and they're the danger to society. My God.
Will?
That's not what she said. And what she was saying is that the trend line for the share of the population for Muslims in the United Kingdom and in France, I imagine, will increase exponentially in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, to the point where if you have, say, 20% of the population that does have a fundamentalist Islamic belief, that would be enough to sway a democracy towards things like Sharia law.
A fundamental. How many Muslims do you think are minded to be fundamentalists and like extreme?
Only serves halal meat.
But halal meat doesn't mean it's just extremist.
So I don't know.
It's an argument that all Muslims are extremists. A lot of Muslims don't even like the extremist Muslims.
I agree. And the ones that aren't extremists, the ones that have actually adopted Western liberal values, which is fantastic. But that isn't
Which
Islam.
I would say is the majority of.
Sure, but at the same time, after October 7, I distinctly recall, and I don't have the numbers, sorry, Kai, I don't have the exact data points for you, but there is a very high amount of people in this country who are Islamic who would support the adoption of Sharia law. There is a very high number of people in this country who still think that Hamas were justified in what they did on October 7. This is not like 2-3%.
There are lots of non-Muslims that also think that.
So I think this is a typical.
That is a tragedy.
This is a typical case of liberal white people, in my opinion, pandering to an extreme group that because they want this diversity is inclusive, we must respect all cultures. They haven't said absolutely not. You've pushed the boundaries too far. They get back in your box, which is exactly what they should have said. Which is exactly what we would do for any extremist other religious group. So again, you're right. The vast majority of Muslims in this country just want to live here and get on with their lives, and the same in France, I'm sure, and actually not cause this kind of trouble. But of course, when we start pandering to these extreme groups on any side, their voice is going to get stronger and more powerful.
And this is the thing, is that this mayor took the decision to cancel this open-air cinema, which is exactly the opposite of what you should be doing, because actually probably many Muslims who are not fundamentalist Muslims would have completely disagreed with his decision.
And let me just tell you, it's an absolutely atrocious movie, and I've only seen clips of it. So I would have had it back for completely different reasons. I thought it actually denigrated men.
Some people call it woke and feminist.
It's horrendous.
In fairness, they actually reached the right outcome. We don't problem with
the outcome was good, but just the way that it went about it and the reasons for it were wrong.
I do think it's this completely playing this down, however, that is again allowing this to happen. It's this, oh God, it's one decision. Oh, it's only the minority of people. That is what's allowing it to happen.
Yeah, okie dokie. Well, look, we have more of these fiery debates coming up for you very, very shortly, including a fresh batch of your favourite part of the show, Triggered Tantrums, people losing their minds over absolutely nothing. We've got some big interviews coming up, but of course, we're going to get straight to the Saturday scrap next. You have been voting. If you haven't voted yet, go and vote. You've still got time. We're going to be getting to that up very, very shortly. Keep your Ask the Fives coming in, and we're going to be reading a whole bunch of those at 8 o'clock because you love that part of the show too. Don't go anywhere. The Saturday Five will be firing on all cylinders throughout the break, and we will see you after the weather. Huzzah!
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's remained quite cloudy across some eastern parts today. We'll see similar conditions into Sunday as well. Best of the sunshine across western areas, and high pressure generally dominates our weather pattern at the moment, so it is largely settled, though quite breezy, particularly across southwestern parts of the UK. This evening and overnight, a quiet end to Saturday. Lots of clear spells. There'll be some low cloud drifting back inland across some eastern areas as we head into the early hours. Thick enough for a bit of light rain and drizzle at times, but for most it's quiet. Temperatures generally in the range of 12 to 16 Celsius, so a little lower compared to recent nights. So on Sunday morning, plenty of sunshine across most parts of the UK. They're always cloudier towards the north and the east. So Orkney and Shetland, a cloudy start to the day here, and then generally cloudy across northern parts of Scotland, but the rest of Scotland, plenty of sunshine to start the morning. Lots of sunshine across Northern Ireland as well, though. You can see the cloudier skies across eastern England, thick enough for some light rain and drizzle, but western parts of England into Wales, lots of sunshine to start the day, and still quite breezy across southwest England, but the wind should hopefully ease here later on in the day. This cloud will be slow to lift and break in places, just like we've seen through the day today. It will generally stay cloudy here, but elsewhere there'll be plenty of sunshine, and the temperatures will again get to the mid to high 20s. Sunshine could be hazy at times, but overall another warm feeling day for many. On Monday, again, a cloudy start, but likely we'll see the cloud extend further eastwards. It should break as the day goes on to allow some bright or sunny spells. The risk of some showers, though, coming into the southwest. Some of these could be thundery at times, but generally dry across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and generally dry for most over the next few days too. That's all from me. See you again soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
You've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. This would change my life.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m,
only on GB News. You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You cannot broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Blimey, it's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Alex Armstrong, along with the usual gang, Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Trelo and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
pull out your miniature violins for triggered tantrums.
There's been a Keir Starmer and Zelensky loving.
Oh, we should have banned that instead of Barbie. Let's find out what's going on here as well.
I'm the foxglove, and I represent all the wildflowers. I am Nettle, and I am here because we have been misunderstood.
Boys are being failed by our schools. Find out why with our top educational guest later.
Are we going to get more on this?
Much as I'm afraid that my children's freedom to breathe will be stolen.
Welcome to the Saturday 5. Loads more to come on the show, including a worrying forecast that says poor GCSE results achieved by young boys could damage the future of our country. Also, we sent Kai away to do a bit of hard graft for a change.
Hold it up tight, yeah. And then also on, I think this one was loose as well.
What, like that?
That's fine, yeah. You're a natural.
Would you be having Kai around to do your plumbing? That's a question no one's asking. Stick around for the Saturday 5 Extra to find out what that was all about. And we've also got a fresh batch of your favourite triggered tantrums, and very shortly we're going to be revealing the results of the Saturday scrap you've been voting away. We love that. And of course, get your views in gbnews.com/yoursay, and while you're there, ask the 5. We're going to be reading out so many this week, so put Ask the 5 in your comment and we'll make sure it's read out at 8 o'clock. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday Night News with Katie Bowen.
Alex, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 7:02. Vladimir Putin says that his conversation with President Trump was sincere and substantive, adding that he wants to end the Ukrainian conflict peacefully. His statement comes as there are reports that European leaders have been invited to attend talks between Volodymyr Zelensky and President Donald Trump in Washington on Monday. President Trump said he and Vladimir Putin had a very productive meeting yesterday, but there were a few key points they couldn't agree on. The face-to-face talks in Alaska lasted almost 3 hours. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has commended President Trump's efforts, saying he had brought us closer than ever before to ending the war in Ukraine. On Truth Social, Mr Trump said he and Putin agreed that the best way to end the war is to go directly to a peace deal, not a ceasefire. In a short press conference after the summit, the president gave little detail about what had been discussed.
We had an extremely productive meeting and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
Well, the Financial Times is reporting that the Russian president has demanded that Ukraine withdraw from the eastern Donetsk region as a condition for ending the war, but told President Trump he could freeze the rest of the front line if his core demands were met. At the press conference, the Russian president, who spoke through a translator, said he's seriously interested in putting an end to the war, but warned Europe not to interfere.
I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Elsewhere today, anti-racism campaigners have chanted at demonstrators protesting against what they called uncontrolled illegal immigration outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Falkirk. Stand Up to Racism Scotland, Falkirk Trades Union Council and residents said that they organised the demonstration today to show that refugees are welcome in the town. It comes after the group Save Our Future and Our Kids' Futures announced plans to hold a protest outside the hotel known as the Claddon. In a social media post, the group said it is standing against uncontrolled illegal immigration, with people being placed in our communities without transparency, accountability or consultation. And Merseyside police have arrested a man following reports that racist abuse was directed towards Bournemouth player Anton Semenyo during his team's Premier League fixture versus Liverpool yesterday. The match was paused in the 29th minute after the winger Semenyo accused a spectator of racist abuse. It's understood police officers went into the referee's room at half-time while an anti-discrimination message was read out to the crowd. The man was removed from Anfield Stadium. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to the Saturday 5.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Welcome back to this Saturday 5. I haven't seen any of your Ask the Fives yet. Get them in. I want to read them out. You're not giving me any. It's the first week you've ever given me any Ask the Fives. Come on, keep them safe, give them some real debates, and I will read them out at 8 o'clock and we'll have a proper debate about them. Now, you've also been voting for what you want us to scrap over, and I can now reveal which topic has been crowned the winner. 18% of you voted for should politicians have their time abroad restricted. 35% of you voted for should we celebrate the Independence Day of other countries. And a whopping 47% of you voted for should we scrap inheritance tax. Well, there you have it. So let's crack on with tonight's main event. Yes, it's the Saturday scrap, and here's what we're talking about. Rachel Reeves is preparing for yet another raid on your money to plug her £50 billion black hole in the nation's finances. The plan will see a lifetime cap on the gifts you can pass on before you die. The Chancellor has already vowed to slap a 40% inheritance tax on private pensions and slash allowances for farmers and businesses. So, with all of that in mind, should we scrap inheritance tax? Ding, ding, it's round one. Dr. Renee is going to take it from here.
Right, so of course we should scrap inheritance tax. It's a ridiculous tax. So why is it ridiculous? Look, most tax is ridiculous, but we accept that we're in a society where if we're going to play part in it, we need to contribute something. We are at a point in this country where the people who do go to work every day and work hard, even those people who are not earning that much but paying tax, are actually shouldering such a heavy burden that they're reaching the point where they think there's no point playing in this particular game. I'm one of them. But why should we think about inheritance tax more deeply? Firstly, you should be able to control what happens to your money after death. Of course you should. You work hard all your life. You should have the final decision on where your money goes and when. It's a double taxation. Yep. The money that you have earned when you've been working hard in life, you have paid tax on every single little bit of it. Even if you invested it in a bank and earned interest, you pay tax on it. So to actually tax it again when you die, it's a double, if not a triple, taxation. So that's clearly wrong. It's a disincentive for people to actually work hard and build wealth. In fact, I think we're rapidly reaching the point where many hard-working people are saying, enough, there's no point doing anything. I might as well stay in bed all day, play whatever game, do the crossword, and just go and pick up some benefits every day. It's an ineffective revenue generator. It very rarely generates the money that the Treasury think it will, because the people that would pay vast amounts of inheritance tax can afford really expensive lawyers to actually get rid of most of it before they die, and they're not the ones being hit. So for that reason alone, it is then putting a massive burden on the middle classes who have worked hard, accumulated a little bit of wealth, and then get whacked because they haven't got those really highfalutin accountants and lawyers to hide it away from them. Inheritance tax should be scrapped.
No. Again, I mean, we've heard all of these debates rage on that claim that this is a tax on aspiration, a tax on the middle class. That is just not true, is it now? 1 out of 10 of all estates will end up paying these kind of levels of inheritance tax. We are talking about huge sums of money. And what is more unfair is that actually people can pay tax all their lives for hard work, but then some kids, by pure accident of birth and through unearned inheritance and gifts, get a leg up in life. And in the United Kingdom, frankly, the leg up in life that a huge inheritance gives you is quite significant. We know that from just looking at our ruling classes, by looking at the elite. It gives you a leg up in your career chances, in your education, and that continues down and down the generations. We're still ruled by the same people that we were hundreds of years ago. Inheritance tax is part of a system that has perpetuated that inheritance and unearned gifts for people have perpetuated that fact for a very, very long time. How can it be right? And what they do instead is have the poor fight amongst themselves while the fat cats up there continue to enjoy the fruits of the labour of people long, long dead.
OK, Kai, look, I came from a single-parent family in East London. We had no money at all. When I left home, I had nothing. My mother would have given me everything she had, but she didn't have anything. But so what she did do is she guaranteed a £500 loan for me to buy a car. That was it, because that was what she could do, and I was very grateful. Since then, I worked myself to the bone, and now I want the right, having done that, to give my children a leg up. Because
But you still will.
I bothered, Kai. I was able...
You still will.
No, I won't, Kai.
Yes, you will. It's not 100% inheritance tax,
Oh,
is it?
that's OK, then.
That's news.
This
That's news
is
to me.
Let me speak. You'll get your turn in a minute. This is the politics of envy that Labour run.
No.
They actually, as per the article in The Guardian that I put into our group this week, want to distribute 100% of people's wealth because they believe in social engineering. Social engineering doesn't work, Kai, because you can't give people the work ethic, the aspiration. So basically, leave those people who have it, who run our country because they make small businesses and employ people, let them pass their money on.
OK, very big stuff here. Will, I'll bring you in on this. Should we scrap inheritance tax?
Yes, of course. It's actually not a tax in Australia, for example. I don't think they've got it in the US or Canada, I believe. The UK is relatively unusual in this regard. To the extent that Kai has acknowledged that the world is unfair, I agree with him. Some kids will get inheritances and some kids won't. Some kids will be born with, genetic advantages. Some kids won't. That's like an unfortunate reality of life. And you've got to weigh that up against the competing right of someone who has earned money over the course of their life to be able to choose how that money is then distributed. This is a balance of rights argument. And really, it is the right of that particular person who owns those assets to be able to decide where it should go.
Yeah, Trey, before we come back, because I'd like you to come back in a second, Trey, there are certain people in government who actually have tax-free pensions. One of our viewers here has pointed this out, and I don't know how true the whole thing is, but they say, True Brit here says, Kai, you're talking about Keir's £1 million tax-free pension.
There you go.
There seems to be one rule for some, one rule for other, right? So we've all got a two-tier inheritance tax
We definitely
system.
do. I mean, if you look at the Duke of Westminster, I think when he died, he didn't pay a penny, right? Because for centuries, they've got it wrapped up in nice trusts, right? Exactly what you've said. But it's ordinary working people like my father, who came here as a model immigrant, worked absolutely hard, managed to invest in property, and he's got something to leave to his kids. This whole argument about fairness, Will, I agree with him 100%, which is actually where it's right. Just being born in the West gives you an unfair advantage. At what point do you say...
That doesn't make it right.
It does make it right, because you've got to incentivise people to work hard. So my dad came and worked hard. Wait. My dad did not take the council flat, didn't do nothing, and he just worked hard. Why should he not be able to pass it on to his kids?
How does it incentivise hard work for kids
Because
to
what's
inherit?
the point of working? What's the point of working if you're going to pay a death tax? When, like Dr. Rennie just said, you've paid tax your whole life, and at the end of it, you're going to pay another tax for the government to just waste away anyway. It's thoroughly unfair.
I don't understand how
it's so unfair, and it is the politics of envy.
A question for you. Do you believe in this because you think it's a good way to raise revenues, or do you believe it as a way to just artificially balance the playing field?
Great question.
If the argument is that the way we collect inheritance tax right now is wrong, and that seems to be actually where we're coalescing, because the middle class and people who have worked hard all their lives, I don't think they should be paying massive amounts of inheritance tax. But what we live in a world where where huge amounts of wealth are being accrued. They're being accrued. No, we're not talking about hard workers. We're talking about private equity barons and billionaires who have not worked.
God, you're being a politician.
No, but do you not see the difference?
Answer the question and give me some data to support your answer.
What's the question?
You don't even know the question.
Do you believe in this because it's a way to raise revenue, or do you believe in it as a way to artificially balance out the playing field across the country?
I think making things fairer is a good offshoot of this, yes.
Well, the problem
is
that the money that goes to the Treasury doesn't trickle down to people. So it's not making anybody fair.
It trickles down more than...
It doesn't. The billion we just raised taxes on upwards of £30 billion, and it's all in a black hole now, right? It's spent on diversity programmes, on ridiculous energy programmes like Ed Miliband's fantasy of carbon capture, for example. It comes down to what the government spend it on. We've also just pledged £30 billion to Mauritius for taking over islands that we owned. So this is the problem. Governments don't know how to spend money, particularly people with zero business experience, which is what this whole government, unfortunately, is made up of. The reality is this is a tax on people who've worked hard.
No,
those people who would have that money underneath their work, you work hard to pass that money on. That's what you do in this life. What's the point working if you know your kids can't inherit it? This is a nasty form of socialism. It's a nasty form of socialism that takes away, doesn't spread the money fairly whatsoever. And let me just tell you, the ultra-rich will never, ever suffer inheritance tax. Never. No. They will take their money, they'll put in a trust, which is an easy way to get around it, and they'll also just move it to a different country who will then benefit from the taxation of that money being moved to their country.
Alex, you're spot on. Can I say one thing I think that would make it fairer? If we could choose where that money went, I wouldn't mind as much. So I knew that I was going to have to pay that 40%, but I could spend it on something of my choice. Maybe it's a centre to teach young boys education, or my son. That would be different, but you're right, it's just going to go into a black hole, and then what? And I'll come for different taxes next year.
The thing is, Kai, you can't make people more intelligent. You can't make people have aspiration. You can't make society equal, because we are, at base, animals. And unfortunately, some will do better than others. Whatever you do, however you try and redistribute things, some people will do better.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, go on, Will, last word to you, go on.
If you are going to try and equalise society, the way that you do it isn't to try and bring the people at the top down, you try and bring the people at the bottom up.
That's right. All right, well, just a quick comment here from Stephanie, she just wrote in. Really, there is a triple taxation in this country. You pay tax on your earnings, you pay tax on any savings and interest, and then you tax, when you die, on inheritance tax. You basically, you breathe. You might as well have a tax on breathing, which wouldn't surprise me under this government. They'll make you tax to have blood in your veins. All right, well, still to come tonight. Oh, Kung Fu. That's a new one, isn't it? A brand new batch of triggered tantrums will be with you shortly. But next, a dire warning to schools after boys underperformed in the GCSE levels this year. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you very soon.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GBNews, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Every weekend I go home with a headache after this show. It just doesn't. The debates carry on. You might feel the same way at home, actually, so I hope you've got something to help medicate yourself like I will. They need beer in the next hour, actually. GBNews.com/your say. I love all the Ask the Fives came flooding in, so thank you for listening to that plea from me. Bring some more and we'll try and get them all read out at 8 o'clock. Some of your messages so far, let's just read one out very briefly here. Len... We're talking about here the shoplifting stuff. He said, do you think that prison officers like shopkeepers and security staff should be trained and licensed to use tasers against shoplifters? We'll be talking about that in Ask the Five. It's a very interesting question. Back to the Barbie statement here. What was this? I just scrolled past it. Where is it? Trust the Legend says, Barbie is pretty much offensive to all sentient life. I think we can all come around that and agree. Yeah, well, you little girls, yes, little girls. But we all grow up at some point, don't we? Well, maybe not.
Have you looked at your left?
I'm right here. OK, we've got to move on. Because we've got a great guest coming on. Schools are being warned they must do better for teenage boys. About time. After their chronic underperformance at GCSEs, the University of Buckingham's Professor Alan Smithers is cautioning a failure to address the issue, saying it could lead to a decline in the nation's economic competitiveness. Professor Smithers, should I say, says it should be a national concern, but because boys are seen as habitually privileged, it does not receive the attention it deserves. Well, to discuss this, I'm pleased to welcome Forbes featured educational strategist Elaine C. Walker. Elaine, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It seems... Not at all. It's our pleasure. Elaine, so it seems like young men in this country, particularly here in the United Kingdom, have been left behind. They're seen as habitually privileged. And maybe this is just an old school way of thinking that has led to this crisis now where young boys are simply just not attaining the most basic level of qualification in Britain.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think that boys have been being given the right that they are more privileged, they're okay, and so we don't need to worry about them. If you notice that a lot of times that we've spent a lot of time making sure that the girl child has got the education, and we've kind of left them alone, and I don't know why. Because yeah, if we don't sort it out, they're going to be men growing up into adults who feel like they can't provide for their family.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think it is that's driving this, particularly amongst schools here in the United Kingdom? Is it because, again, traditionally speaking, that men are the ones, maybe it's an old school thought process that men are the ones that would go and work and the women would stay at home, therefore we need to focus on educating women. Is that perhaps where the thinking is, or is it just simply perhaps just a little bit of silliness from schools not paying attention to the young boys?
I think it's two things. I think it is schools not being responsible and being held accountable, and that they do need to pay attention to boys. And yes, there is the old school way of thinking that, you know, boys will just muddle through, and, you know, there's this rhetoric that's going around that boys don't cry, they stiff up a lip and the rest of all of that, and they'll make it through. But actually, lots of boys are going through the cracks, and there's a lot more boys that have got mental health issues that we're not looking at. And so those things are happening. There are social things happening that we haven't picked up on, and we've just taken it as a given that boys will be fine. And yes, I think more and more girls are becoming more interested in their studies, and they are performing better, sadly. That is what the statistics are saying, and it is true. I'm seeing it myself, and although I'm away at the moment, working in the independent sector and working in the UK, I have seen that girls are more forthright in what they're trying to do, and you do have to push boys a little bit more. I've got two boys, so I totally understand.
Elaine, thank you for that. I think it's really interesting. I think it is also very complex. Having put a boy through school who tested top 1% in a WIS test for IQ, who did absolutely nothing for his entire school life, I spent a lot of time looking at this. And it seems to me that the school system, because we've been so determined to bring girls up, is now completely geared to educate girls. And it doesn't work for boys. Boys need to be more active. They need to be running around the playground before class. They need practical skills. They just learn in a different way to girls. And my feeling is that we're just not working for boys. I don't know what you feel about that.
I totally agree with you. I do agree with you. And I found that right from primary school, when you have a boy that's not running around, he's got all this pent-up energy. He's made to sit in a classroom and study. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. Now, I moved my children from, you know, London-based learning to a countryside boarding school, and they performed so much better because they had the ability to run it around. And, you know, we can't fault London schools because they are technically concrete jungles, right? But you're absolutely right. Like I said, I've got 2 children who tested very, very highly, Mensa endorsed, but they also didn't do that much when they were in the UK. When they were in London. But when I moved them to a countryside and they had space, they were different children. And so I think what we need to look at, especially in London, is how to get boys out more, how to get them energized more, especially in the primary school years. And it's not, sometimes parents don't have the time to be able to do those extracurricular activities. They're really important, and it develops the brain differently. Boys have got a different brain to girls.
Totally.
Elaine, what's your perspective on single-sex v co-ed education? And does one of those models potentially have greater upside to get boys up to speed?
Okay, so one might say I'm a little bit biased because I went to a single-sex school, but the statistics say that boys do better in a co-educational environment and girls do better in a single-sex school.
Interesting.
And what's really strange is when my children were younger, for the first 5 years, I had them in a co-educational environment. And then from 5 upwards, I had them in an all-boys school, thinking that that was the right way to go because that's the way my parents educated myself and my brother. But my son kept asking his teacher, why are there not any girls in this school? And so I realized that boys learn very differently. And I think the old way of learning, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, was right. You know, one way for boys and another way for girls. But things have changed. Children's minds have changed. And so, and environments have changed. Especially in the last 5 years, after we had, you know, the big C, I don't want to talk about it, but that completely rewired everybody's brain.
Okay, Elaine, I'm sorry to cut you, but I want to bring in Trey because we're running out of time. But a quick question, and a brief response, if that's okay. Thank you.
Hey, Elaine. I'm just curious about the kind of cultural side of it. Obviously, you and I are both sort of West African descent, and education is literally crazy important for us. And when you look at boys, you sort of see Chinese boys at the top, then Indian, then boys from African backgrounds. But at the bottom are white working class boys. What do you think the reason is for that disparity?
I think that the white working class boys have been overlooked in the education conversation. And the statistics are clear. They're underperforming because there's always been this thought of they're fine, but they're not actually fine. They have challenges as well. And I think with the African children, there's this very much drive from the parents that this is the way to do well in life. Go through education, go this way. And there's various expectations that are placed on them. And I'm a West African girl, and so they are placed on all of us that we must perform. And I think that the working class boys have been overlooked, and also because they don't see themselves in various places. They don't have the right mentors. They haven't got the right schools, which is why I'm so passionate about taking people from certain backgrounds and placing them into amazing schools here in the UK.
Well, Elaine C. Walker there. Thank you so much. Forbes featured educational strategist. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Elaine. Please come back another time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Elaine.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, still to come tonight.
I'm the foxglove, and I represent all the wildflowers. I am Nettle, and I am here because we have been misunderstood.
Okay, this week's cricket tantrum it keeps on coming, doesn't it? It's coming up. But next, chaos in the Cotswolds. We took a look at JD Vance's holiday in the area. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. You're with us Saturday 5 Live on GB News.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
The exceptional heat across Spain and Portugal is now starting to ease with temperatures closer to average, but at this time of year that still means it's going to be pretty hot for many places with a little bit of showery rain pushing through, otherwise lots of sunshine. More showery rain affecting parts of Italy, the high humidity here leading to some thundery downpours, a bit of a breeze affecting Sicily still, and also some blustery winds around the Greek islands. For many, into next week it's looking largely fine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's remained quite cloudy across some eastern parts today. We'll see similar conditions into Sunday as well. Best of the sunshine across western areas, and high pressure generally dominates our weather pattern at the moment, so it is largely settled, though quite breezy, particularly across southwestern parts of the UK. This evening and overnight, a quiet end to Saturday. Lots of clear spells. There'll be some low cloud drifting back inland across some eastern areas as we head into the early hours. Thick enough for a bit of light rain and drizzle at times, but for most it's quiet. Temperatures generally in the range of 12 to 16 Celsius, so a little lower compared to recent nights. So on Sunday morning, plenty of sunshine across most parts of the UK. They're always cloudier towards the north and the east. So Orkney and Shetland, a cloudy start to the day here, and then generally cloudy across northern parts of Scotland, but the rest of Scotland, plenty of sunshine to start the morning. Lots of sunshine across Northern Ireland as well, though. You can see the cloudier skies across eastern England, thick enough for some light rain and drizzle, but western parts of England into Wales, lots of sunshine to start the day, and still quite breezy across southwest England, but the wind should hopefully ease here later on in the day. This cloud will be slow to lift and break in places, just like we've seen through the day today. It will generally stay cloudy here, but elsewhere there'll be plenty of sunshine, and the temperatures will again get to the mid to high 20s. Sunshine could be hazy at times, but overall another warm feeling day for many. On Monday, again, a cloudy start, but likely we'll see the cloud extend further eastwards. It should break as the day goes on to allow some bright or sunny spells. The risk of some showers, though, coming into the southwest. Some of these could be thundery at times, but generally dry across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and generally dry for most over the next few days too. That's all from me. See you again soon.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 PM on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. We're loving your comments coming in tonight. I'll see if I can pop them off now quickly before we get to Ask the 5. Let's see here. Andy says the left, this is talking about Trump and the Putin debate we had earlier on. The left hates Trump doing what they didn't and couldn't do. Yes, absolutely right, isn't it? We'll read some more of your questions and comments out. But now it's time for this. It is a bunch of five different takes on different stories you may not have heard throughout the week. Will, what have you got for us?
Yeah, so much for British hospitality, Alex. JD Vance is having a holiday in the Cotswolds at the moment, and this is an alleged story. It has popped up on social media and in a few papers, but we'll say alleged for now. Apparently the Bull, which is recognised as one of the great pubs in the United Kingdom, the staff heard that he would be joining them for lunch. They revolted. They said that they would rather resign than serve a fascist. And so, unfortunately, the Vice President of the United States, who I would have thought would actually be a bit of a coup to get to your restaurant, his reservation was declined. What do you think that says about these kind of the youth of today, Alex?
Yeah, well, I think what it says more is that we've got a whole society, a secret society of people who don't want freedom of speech and can't stand certain political views, and therefore will shut them down and censor them rather than serving them.
Yeah, I mean, how dare anyone? I know what the other side of your desk is going to say about, private property can do what they want, but actually, at the end of the day, you're there to do a job, serve people food, get your wages at the end of the week, not to have a political view.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be stopped going into my local Nando's because they don't like what I say on television. Would you like that, Kai?
No, I wouldn't, and I know that probably lots of people don't like what I say on television, but you know what?
You're probably banned from most pubs up and down the country actually thinking about
that's what I hear, yeah. You don't want to know. No, I mean, they're just expressing their freedom of speech, no? Yeah, how can you say that this is pro and anti-freedom of speech? I don't really understand.
Freedom of speech is one thing, but
and then combined with the fact that it's a private restaurant,
work is a whole different thing.
Refusing to serve.
I don't enjoy listening to your free speech, but you come on here and I let you work here every week.
We had the same no one's saying they don't have the right to do this, but on principle, it's just gross. It's wrong.
But what it did, it's ironic, isn't it? JD Vance is the one who's actually championing that the US are worried about the UK not having freedom of speech, and they cancel him. I mean, it's beautiful because they've actually done the job for us. They've proven to him that we actually do cancel people when we don't like what they say.
Okay.
It's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, I think it's a little bit silly, of course, but I can understand for a lot of young people, especially young people that might be so passionate about what's going on in Gaza, for instance, they may not like the fact that you've got someone like JD who is towards the right.
Employees, good on them.
I mean, I wouldn't do that, but that's how people feel, and I think it's up to them to exercise their right to.
All right. Yeah. Moving on, Renee.
Well, interestingly, this week, a soft porn movie passed the online safety check. I don't know how, but Zelensky and Starmer,
we need to stop doing cool sound.
Zelensky and Starmer made a little film that was a cross in my mind between Love Actually and Brokeback Mountain. Let's have a look. That actually made me feel physically sick. I don't know about you. The music that they put behind it. I mean, what are they thinking in Downing Street?
Well, I had to ask Renee as that was just going on, was that AI or is that actually real?
Actually real.
It's hard to tell the difference these days, isn't it?
It is.
One viewer might have wrote into us and said, a bit like Kai, he's an A without the I. It's a little bit like our government, perhaps, isn't it? All artificial, no
Did
intelligence.
you like that? You're a PR man.
I thought it was beautiful. No, I think you introduced that story quite misleadingly. Big Willie was standing to attention there when you said soft porn.
Oh, very, very feisty.
I'll let that go through to the keeper.
Trey, do you think that these sorts of video clips, people just look at it and go, this is so cringe and out of touch?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some sort of disconnect, isn't it, between the sort of political class and everyone else. I don't know who they've got manning their sort of marketing and PR material.
On a serious note, what really, really riled me about this is we have got mothers and grandmothers standing outside hotels in Epping, very, very worried about their daughters. And Starmer can't go there and just visit them and listen to them. But he will greet this man like a hero constantly and make a little video about it.
OK, very briefly, go on.
International affairs are important, right? But you would think that when that's the perception that so many people have of Starmer, you think, actually, maybe let's do a bit of fighting that perception.
OK, we're going to move on. My bunch of 5 is another unfortunate misuse of your money, but it wasn't under this government, so we can't blame them for everything. The previous government spent £2.5 million of your taxpayer money covering up the Afghan data breach scandal. That is how much, according to The Telegraph, figures obtained under freedom of information laws, that is how much the government spent trying to hide the truth from you, while they then spent a further $7 billion to relocate Afghan refugees to Britain over the course of 5 years. Of course, also under a cover-up, in my opinion. It's a cover-up after cover-up after cover-up, misuse of your money, time and time again. We've heard of another data leak today, just to top it all off. When is this absolute madness in our country going to end? Will, do you think super injunctions should be banned by government officials? It shouldn't be allowed, surely.
Well,
I don't have a strong point of view on this, Alex.
OK.
Which I don't think I've ever...
Fuck him next time. You're here for your point of view, mate.
In fairness, I don't think I've ever said that on this show before.
No, I
don't think they should be banned, if you come to think of it. I think there are use cases where it does make sense for them to be put in place. But this is not one of them. Okay. But I would also just add very quickly that we're now getting to this awful point with the economy here where we just go, another 2 million here, 4 million there. It's like they're just numbers now. It's like, it's just that dire.
I agree.
Renee, briefly?
Yeah, and then, of course, some of these Afghan interpreters, we now learn, don't even speak English.
Well, that'll be
so
very
I don't know what they were interpreting.
There you go, Trey.
I mean, you guys know I disagree with you. I think we had a duty of care to look after these people that were, helpful to us during that war. Absolutely, OK, anyone says. But I agree with Will. $7 billion. Where did that money go to? Like, why does everything cost so much? That's why I don't believe inheritance tax so much.
OK.
$7 billion to rehouse people is a lot.
Very quickly, Kai.
Tories, yeah?
OK. I think we can all agree on that.
How's that for the last word?
Trey, let's move on to your bunch of 5, please.
So my bunch of 5 is about Britain's biggest bailiff firms, Marston Holdings, being forced to introduce a refunds programme after overcharging. I think that's great. That's poetic justice, isn't it? I think all of us have, at some point, I'm sure everyone must have had some sort of bill that you haven't paid and you've got some bailiff knocking at your door, I'm sure. A parking ticket or something, anyone?
It would have been great
just
if bailiffs went to go and take over a bailiff's place. That would have been the ultimate.
That would have been absolutely brilliant.
That would have been a moment of
I think
insanity.
It's great because we all know that a lot of bailiffs are just overzealous. There are a lot of people who actually don't have any money and they come in there and they use bully boy tactics. Sometimes they're actually urging on the space of unlawful when they do it, and it's great for them to have a bit of a comeuppance. I love this.
Kai, what's your bunch of 5?
Oh, well, I'm talking about the wonderful Meghan Markle.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm quite sad for Meghan because there are calls for her show on Netflix to be cancelled. Yes, the new season, apparently, the trailer for the new season for Meghan's show has got viewers quite angry. They're in a bit of a tizzy because of the appearance of Chrissy Teigen, who some are calling the internet's most prolific bully.
Oh.
Now, I have to say...
clips from the new season. We can see them on your screens right now.
How could...
heartwarming.
How could you want this cancelled? Well, I mean, really, this is exactly what I want.
Just so I think it's real.
I think people want it cancelled just simply for being inauthentic and absolute rubbish to watch. And it also didn't even rate. I mean, I don't want anything ever to be cancelled. It's Netflix's money at the end of the day, but it didn't even rate the last season. So they've clearly filmed 2 seasons back to back. They did to get it out anyway. And so that's what's happened here.
Well, I don't know what's going on really, because the Spotify partnership that Harry and Meghan had has also been extended in recent weeks.
No, it hasn't.
I think it. No, it's Spotify or maybe the Netflix partnership.
Netflix.
But I watched their Polo show and that was absolute rubbish.
Well, before we lose the whole audience, because they hate them both as much as we do, Trigger Tantrums is coming up tonight. Have a look at this.
Much as I'm afraid that my children's freedom to breathe will be stolen.
Think of a haircut.
You might get taxed for breathing soon. Anyway, you're with Saturday 5 Live on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Oh, yes, I've got a bit of an update on this. So, you know, Steve Jobs' daughter is getting married this weekend. We talked about it earlier on in the week.
Yes,
Eve Jobs.
They're hiring the entire Cotswolds.
Yeah, we've got more details now.
Oh.
They're taking over the village of Great Chew. And apparently the budget is said to be $5 million. Could be a lot more, though.
$5 million?
Yeah,
because the papers were saying 50 million the other day.
$5 million could be higher.
For them.
But the high-end guest list includes Kamala Harris, Bono, the Kardashians and Princess Beatrice. Rumours as well that David Cameron's been invited.
Oh. But they can't know all these people.
They've invited 500 people. So it's a big wedding.
It's just like...
Apparently the village is in lockdown.
No, it will be.
Yeah, and they're going to Estelle Manor afterwards, which is a big, like, Jacobean manor house in the Cotswolds. Oh. And they've got sniffer dogs out already.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Of all those people, I bet they only know Bono.
But didn't you think the
Everybody
same with...
knows Bono, don't they? Well, no, but at least he was involved with Apple. He must have known Steve Jobs. Was he involved with Apple? Yeah, because they had all the... Do you remember they had the U2 exclusive iPods and
Oh,
things when
of
they
course.
first
Yeah,
launched.
yeah.
So he must have known... So he probably knew her as a kid.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to give away Apple products.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. You know the
It's a goodie bag. You'll get a goodie bag.
At the end, yeah, like an iPad or
So you've got a goodie bag at your wedding.
Or a MacBook. I know, but you had the free-flowing rosé, which you don't drink.
I don't drink.
Anyway. Did you not try the non-alcoholic version?
Of rosé?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was one.
I covered all fronts.
I didn't know there was one.
Oh, well, you missed out.
I had some non-alcoholic beers.
Well, good. I did provide.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Coming up from 8 p.m. You've been sending them in all evening. It's Ask the 5. I have loads of them here. It's going to be great. And the panel don't know what you've asked either, so this is going to be even more interesting. Keep them coming, though. gbnews.com/your say. But now it is time for Triggered Tantrums. We have the craziest videos week on week of people just losing their minds. And you wouldn't believe how many there are. There are thousands of us. We have the real pick of the bunch. Will is going to kick us off. Will.
Yeah, well, this is representative of a broader loss of minds across the Democrats in the United States after Donald Trump has sent in the National Guard to deal with the awful crime problem in Washington, D.C. Some people have tried to equivocate about that problem, including this lefty commentator. Let's have a look.
I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid of losing my vote. I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid that my children's freedom to breathe will be stolen in a world where climate change policy is non-existent. I'm afraid that the future of middle-class people will be stolen.
My children's freedom to breathe will be stolen.
Do you know...
What is it? What does he think? Trump's going to take the oxygen out of America? Like, is that what they think is happening?
They think he's that evil that, you know, I wouldn't put it past that they're thinking that's how they would frame it.
It's fascinating. I found so many tantrums this week of the Democrats in America losing it over Trump saying he was going to crack down on crime in DC. It's amazing.
It's like that here in London, though. We saw that, you know, obviously these crime statistics, or what I've seen, are going up and up and up. But you've got the lovely lefties in London here and the media elite saying that it's all OK and nothing's happening, that there aren't rapes every hour and that your phone isn't getting stolen, just those new things that have been laid out down Regent Street. We've got no, that's no problem. We're just putting them to help people. Rubbish.
But this is Trump's superpower, is they hate him so much that they have to oppose everything that he does, and therefore they get stuck in the 20% on 80-20 issues.
True.
They look like idiots.
Renee, what have you got for us this week?
OK, so you know that our councils spend our money wisely. Well, back in May, Southampton Council had, let me not get this wrong, an interspecies democracy meeting. I'll let you watch it for yourself.
The butterfly. I am here to represent all the insects.
I am the foxglove, and I represent all the wildflowers. I am nettle, and I am here because we have been misunderstood.
This is an interspecies democracy meeting, so it's a theatrical council meeting. We're exploring what it means to understand the perspectives of our non-human neighbours in the city.
Nowadays, we so often feel as though we're surviving rather than thriving.
I mean,
what?
Honestly, this is how our money is being spent. And you know, in an ideal world, Kai, yes, it would be cute. Our councils are nearly bankrupt.
I can see Kai in his beaver outfit heading along to that interspecies democracy meeting.
I'm shocked. I was NFI. Didn't get my invitation. Yeah.
It looks like a bit of fun, though, surely.
No, I don't know.
Is that not what it's for?
It's like a really bad comic one,
Lighten
isn't
up,
it?
guys.
No,
People
where's your
dressed up as Wurzel Gummidge, whatever it is. It's a bit of fun.
Where's the sense of whimsy?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird.
I don't think they think it is fun. I think they're taking that very seriously.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's like flat earthers. They genuinely believe in this stuff. Maybe these people do believe they are intergalactic
spreading around the globe, Alec.
Oh, of course they are. Flat earthers are spreading around the globe, as they said. Interesting, that, hey? Do you know what? I forgot what my tantrum is, so I'm going to be delightfully surprised when my producer plays this one for me.
She's an old woman. She's an old woman. You can't arrest an old woman. You cannot arrest an old woman like this. She's an old woman. Let her go. 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 Don't touch me.
But it was kung fu fighting.
That'll stop the police. I'll just go full kung fu. Look at that. I mean, honestly. I mean, what was he thinking? I mean, listen, you turn up to a protest, that's what happens, especially one that's prohibited as a terrorist organisation. You're going to get arrested. They knew what they signed up for. These people would go. Of course they did, otherwise they wouldn't have been there. If they wanted to protest the Palestinians, then they should have gone elsewhere, because there's plenty of them going on. To be fair, it's kung fu bloke.
All I had in my head, which shows my age, was Hong Kong Fu.
Hong Kong Fu, yeah, that was a great show. I watched that when I was a kid.
Our left is just so wet. Even when they're trying to be macho, they just come across as so... Well, I don't want to use the term limp-wristed on this channel because we've got...
it is limp-wristed though, isn't it? Even the Kung Fu looks a little limp-wristed, I'm not going to lie to you. But there we go. Kai, would you do a bit of Kung Fu, perhaps?
No, that at least was more effective than most of the sort of social media activism that you see young people do these days. Like, you know...
I don't know.
He was doing something. He turned up.
Well, he turned up and then he started trying to kung fu the police. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
he was doing Tai Chi.
Well, whatever it was really odd. It was really odd. Trey, what do you make of these people? They show up and then they're like, get surprised when people get arrested, and then they start trying to use kung fu on police.
Yeah, I mean, that kung fu is not going to work, though. But, I mean, I guess we all agreed, though, that they shouldn't have been prohibited, isn't it, though, at the end of the day? You know, these people are obviously going there to get arrested. You know, that organisation should never have been prescribed as a terrorist organisation at the end of the day.
That's right. Okay, silly. Just some quick your stays here. Richard Hill said, talking about the injunction stuff from Afghanistan there, the government messed up. Super injunctions should be banned, full stop. I totally agree. And Leaky Bucket here said, Alex, are you going to report the 8 times Labour went back to the courts to keep the injunction in place and the 7 billion Labour signed off? Totally agree, by the way. It's not just the Tories. This did span over too, and I did blame the Tories, though. You're right to correct me. It was both governments who agreed to this. It's sort of a gross cover-up on both sides there. Let's have a quick look.
Because they're the uni party.
The uni party.
Yeah, that is that.
Heard it here first,
feeling, isn't it? That is the feeling. What else have you guys said here? We've got loads of Ask the Five, some really, really interesting ones coming up at 8 o'clock. So I promise you, I'm not going to want to miss this one because you guys have given us some great questions here.
Can you choose an animal from the interspecies meeting of the council?
Yeah, what interspecies?
I can't say beaver, can I?
Well, you can. It could be an interspecies beaver.
I quite like badgers. I know the farmers.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe you could find out what galactic species we'd be in Saturday 5 Extra, because that is coming up. Anything could happen. I've tried to get our pints back this week, so let's see if the pints are delivered. And we're revealing what Kai has been up to. Another, grappling with some leaky pipes by the looks of things. We'll see you in a second.
Lefty loosey.
Hold it up tight, yeah. And then also on, I think this one was loose as well.
What, like that?
That's fine, yeah. You're a natural.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's remained quite cloudy across some eastern parts today. We'll see similar conditions into Sunday as well. Best of the sunshine across western areas, and high pressure generally dominates our weather pattern at the moment, so it is largely settled, though quite breezy, particularly across southwestern parts of the UK. This evening and overnight, a quiet end to Saturday. Lots of clear spells. There'll be some low cloud drifting back inland across some eastern areas as we head into the early hours. Thick enough for a bit of light rain and drizzle at times, but for most it's quiet. Temperatures generally in the range of 12 to 16 Celsius, so a little lower compared to recent nights. So on Sunday morning, plenty of sunshine across most parts of the UK. They're always cloudier towards the north and the east. So Orkney and Shetland, a cloudy start to the day here, and then generally cloudy across northern parts of Scotland, but the rest of Scotland, plenty of sunshine to start the morning. Lots of sunshine across Northern Ireland as well, though. You can see the cloudiest skies across eastern England, thick enough for some light rain and drizzle, but western parts of England into Wales, lots of sunshine to start the day, and still quite breezy across southwest England, but the wind should hopefully ease here later on in the day. This cloud will be slow to lift and break in places, just like we've seen through the day today. It will generally stay cloudy here, but elsewhere there'll be plenty of sunshine, and the temperatures will again get to the mid to high 20s. Sunshine could be hazy at times, but overall another warm feeling day for many. On Monday, again, a cloudy start, but likely we'll see the cloud extend further eastwards. It should break as the day goes on to allow some bright or sunny spells. The risk of some showers, though, coming into the southwest. Some of these could be thundery at times, but generally dry across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and generally dry for most over the next few days too. That's all from me. See you again soon.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdley, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Can you shut up? It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show, and clearly the most opinionated. I'm Alex Armstrong, along with Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Trey Lowe, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
it's your chance to grill us in Ask the Five.
And a victory for GB News.
Alex.
Another day in Crazy Town.
Good genes are passed down. Minds are blue.
What's going on here?
Get away from me now. This guy is harassing me.
You,
He said that
I have lots of film, lady.
And not for the first time on a Saturday night, I get my hands dirty.
Now hold it up tight, yeah. And then also on, I think this one was loose as well.
What, like that?
That's fine, yeah. You're natural.
Oh, this before the watershed. Yeah. Well, it's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. We've got our pints in, we've got our drinks in, some different to others. Everyone's having a little bit of a different tipple. They can all drink it. I have to talk. Anyway, and of course, I love hearing your views, and we're going to have loads of them coming up in Ask the Five. So stay tuned to that, because nothing's off limits, and you've asked some really interesting questions this week. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday night news with Katie Bowen.
Alex, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 8:01. Vladimir Putin says that his conversation with President Trump was sincere and substantive, adding that he wants to end the Ukrainian conflict peacefully. His statement comes as there are reports that European leaders have been invited to attend talks between Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump in Washington on Monday. President Trump said he and Vladimir Putin had a very productive meeting yesterday, but there were a few key points they couldn't agree on. The face-to-face talks in Alaska lasted almost 3 hours. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has commended President Trump's efforts, saying he had brought us closer than ever before to ending the war in Ukraine. On Truth Social, Mr Trump said he and Putin agreed that the best way to end the war is to go directly to a peace deal and not a ceasefire. In a short press conference after the summit, the president gave little detail about what had been discussed.
We had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
While the Financial Times is reporting that the Russian president has demanded that Ukraine withdraw from the eastern Donetsk region as a condition for ending the war, but told President Trump he could freeze the rest of his front line if his core demands were met. At the press conference, the Russian president, who spoke through a translator, said he's seriously interested in putting an end to the war, but warned Europe not to interfere.
I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Elsewhere today, anti-racism campaigners have chanted at demonstrators protesting against what they call uncontrolled illegal immigration outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Falkirk. Stand Up to Racism Scotland, Falkirk Trades Union Council and residents said they organised a demonstration today to show that refugees are welcome in the town. It comes after the group Save Our Future and Our Kids' Future announced plans to hold a protest outside the hotel known as the Claddon. In a social media post, the group said it is standing against uncontrolled illegal immigration, with people being placed in our communities without transparency, accountability or consultation. And Merseyside police have arrested a man following reports that racist abuse was directed towards Bournemouth player Antoine Semenyo during his team's Premier League fixture versus Liverpool yesterday. The match was paused in the 29th minute after the winger Semenyo accused a spectator of racist abuse. It's understood police officers went into the referee's room at half-time while an anti-discrimination message was read out to the crowd. The man was removed from Anfield Stadium. Those are the latest GBNews headlines. Now let's go back to the Saturday 5.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Welcome back. Will's almost finished his pint. Actually, no, you're not. You're not doing too bad there, mate. You're not doing too bad. He's really desperate for a top-up. That's what he wants.
No, what he's desperate to do is, because they gave me a pint and I don't like beer, he's desperate to
have yours.
He's already got it.
Yeah.
Didn't the Wallabies?
He's got it.
Didn't the Wallabies win? That's illegal in this country. Right, it's time to have your say in Ask the Five. We love this part of the show because anything can happen. I have loads of your questions and Ask the Fives here. So why don't I just pick out one here? This is from Bill. Bill said this: Alex, should Antifa protesters continually be able to wear face coverings after a Section 60 AA has been issued by the police, which instructs face coverings to be removed? Because they never are they? Will?
Well, if the police have directed them to do it, then yes, they need to.
What if they have? OK, there's slightly more interesting. What if they haven't?
Yeah.
Do you think you should have the right to protest with your face covered?
Yes.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I don't agree with that at all, Renee.
No.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I've always said no, but when I think about it, why not? Some people might actually want to protect themselves for security reasons.
Oh, I don't
yeah.
And the liberties thing.
The more you see about facial recognition being spread out and people get quite conspiracy theorist about that, rightly or wrongly, you're going to see a lot more of this, I think, on both sides of the debates.
Yeah, because your mate Tony Blair, who's going to be putting those little cameras all over the country.
Yeah, there he is.
He's going to be putting ID cards in your wallet. That's
put them in your fingerprint.
In your fingertip,
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like some horror movie. No, I just think, listen, I don't agree with face coverings. It is so anti-British. I think back to a time when British people used to protest or use their freedom of speech with a face covering on. If you're putting a face covering on, in my opinion, it's because you have something nasty you want to do and don't want to be held accountable for it.
Alex,
face covering should exist in public, and I mean that for religious reasons, for any religion, and also for people protesting.
You notice the contradiction in what you just said about expressing the right for free speech, but then you're going to limit the freedom for what people can wear.
Compared to 2 hours ago.
That's completely different. It's completely different.
It's not, though.
No, and you also leave people often to be persecuted for their views. So maybe it's good that people can actually...
because if we truly had free speech, you wouldn't be persecuted. You wouldn't be persecuted for your views. And if you feel that strongly that you're going to go out on the streets, then you should feel strongly enough to say, this is me, this is my view.
Totally right. Totally.
By the way,
it is so anti-British to do this.
Look, I agree with you, but I just don't think it should be illegal to do it.
OK.
But it has been a stark little contrast between, you know, nice mums who have been going out and protesting, and then you see these no face masks there, but then you see these kind of nutters who come in.
But do you know what happens then, Will, is that we can't identify the people that are causing trouble, right?
I agree.
And then we get the calls that all the people turning up to these protests are far right because they are all grouped together. If we could find out who those people are causing trouble and evict them from the protests, actually these protests would be within the realms of the law.
I agree with everything you just said. I think really individual freedom is more important.
Tough one.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. Another question here. Do you think that, like prison officers, shopkeepers and security staff should be trained and licensed to use tasers against shoplifters? Great question. Kai?
I think that is an entirely disproportionate measure in response to what is, yes, a growing crime, but fairly low level. And if we have this tit for tat, I don't want us to end up like this sort of armed to the hilt United States type place where everybody has a weapon that they use against their fellow man.
I saw a weapon, a taser being used. There was a man getting relatively aggressive. This is a social media video. I can't remember where it was from or who took it. But there was a man who was getting relatively aggressive to a bunch of lads, and the police were just there, and he grabbed the police, started smashing the police car up as well, which is completely weird. The police just tasered him, stopped the whole thing from happening, because it could have escalated.
Yeah, but look, OK, rare moments happen on this show when I agree with Kai, and this is one of them. I think a taser, firstly, a taser is not always benign, and it doesn't actually affect all people in the same way. People have died being tasered.
That's true.
I think you put this into the hands of the public, and we're going to that step in America where they also all have guns. I think it's silly, but I think what we should have is police on the streets that come and arrest people.
Do you know, I'm still really keen on my idea of tagging shoplifters
on the streets.
Right? I think this is a great idea, and I don't think everyone thought of this yet, so I'm quite happy about this. Policy idea for the next government. What you should do is people who shoplift and you catch them. Obviously, that's the first important bit. You put them a tag on them, and when they walk through a door with a shop with one of those gates on them where the alarm goes off if you steal, well, it just let everyone know that you're a shoplifter when you walk in.
You just
stop the problem. Not only would it cause humiliation, they wouldn't do it again, would they? But secondly, you definitely aren't going to shoplift after that.
I don't really care about humiliation, though, so I don't think...
This happened to me.
Oh, what? You got
because
tagged?
They've got those in H&M and some clothes shops. They've got these stupid self-serve machines for clothes. And I left a tag on, and every time I went to the Sainsbury's, because I did pay for this top.
It's been in my...
When I went to the supermarket, thank you.
I could see you being the type of bloke who would try and...
It was embarrassing.
An extra pair of socks on his way out.
That's not accuse him of theft. Come on, Right, let's move on to the next question. Richard says this. People pay a fortune in taxes. One